Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here and welcome to our workshop on using the Pixton app in the whole matter of community health and psychiatry. My name is Michelle Stewart-McKoy. I work in the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. And with me today is Mr. Dominic Williams. Now, Mr. Williams is one of our administrative assistants, and he will be assisting me today. So I am going to just ask Dominic to open his mic so you can see what he looks like. And just to say a word or two, please, Dominic.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dominic Williams. As Mrs. McCoy said, I am the new admin assistant here at the CETL. So you match voice to a face.
Thank you so much, Dominic. Thank you. All right. So when I start sharing, he will be monitoring the chat, and any raised hands or if there are any questions, he'll let me know. But this is not a one-way distribution of information. So we want to have a conversation as we go through. I do recognize that you are busy and you're tired, so I'll try to ensure that it's as engaging as possible. And I would just like to, the center would like to thank Mrs. Walters for reaching out and asking us to engage with you on this particular era. I'm about to share my screen, but I'm going to just give a quick little disclaimer. I'm using two monitors. So if you see me turn away at any point, my presentation will be on the second monitor. It simply means that I am using the other screen, okay? And my sharing will be from there as well. That's one. Two, my name is Michelle Stewart-McKoy. Please refer to me as Michelle, okay? And I do hope that it's okay for me to call you by your first name. The final thing that I'd like to say as a disclaimer, much of what we do is for teaching and learning purposes. And so we tend to share our workshops on our YouTube channel. So we will be posting this one as well. So I'm just letting you know that you being here and participating, we accept that as you being willing for us to share our workshop on our YouTube channel. If you have any opposition to this, you can send us an email, please, or just drop it in the chat to let us know that you do not wish to have your name shown on the screen. Okay, so we just want to put that there for transparency purposes. Okay, so I'm about to share my screen so that we could begin. And what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be looking at this in two ways. We're going to start with a little bit of theory. So we always tend to look at the theory that drives the action that we do. You should be seeing my screen. So I'm just going to put it in slideshow mode so that we could begin. All right, so you know that I'm Michelle. I work in the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. You'll hear people refer to it as the CETL, and there are those who refer to it as the CETL, and then there are those who call out the letter CTL. Okay, either work, well, any one of those options work for us. So I want to ask a quick question before we begin. You remember at any point in your life up to this point reading comics? You can just raise your hand or open your mic. Have you ever read comics?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Yes, and you enjoyed them, didn't you?
Yes. Very much, very much.
Exactly. I used to love them.
Still
And
do.
so there you go. There you go. Thank you so much. And so comic strips and comics or graphic novels, you'll hear the terms being used interchangeably, but there are slight differences, and we won't necessarily go into the differences. But comic strips, graphic novels, comics, they used to be for entertainment purposes. Now they have evolved. Now there's so much more than just entertainment. They have become powerful educational tools that we can use in any teaching and learning context and in any setting, because it's not just in education that you see the use of comics anymore. You see them in medicine, in engineering, in psychology, in so many different fields. And so you realize that comics have become a powerful tool to share information in particular communities And so we're going to be looking at the use of comics and looking particularly of creating comics using a tool called Pixton. Now, I must say that you can create comics and comic strip using just about any tool. We're moving beyond the analog, so we're not looking at pen and paper anymore, but we are looking at the digital versions. And so you can do this in any, there are a wide variety of tools that you can use. You can do it in PowerPoint, you can do it in Word, you can do it on a web-based platform, but we are going to be looking at the tool. And so at the end of this particular session, there are a couple of things that we should be able to leave with. So we should have a better understanding of why comics can work in the health education aspect. And so you can explain the benefits to somebody else. We're going to navigate the Pixton interface, and you should be able to do so with a little bit of confidence. Some a little more than others based on your technology comfort level, but that is fine. And we're going to create a simple 4-panel comic strip, which is going to address mental health. I chose mental health as, you know, because mental health has become such a buzzword and such a priority when we have our discussions. So I'm going to create something very basic. Now, if you want to create yours using something else, you're encouraged to do so. If you feel comfortable following my steps, that's fine. Okay, and then we're going to look at how we can apply the whole comic creation to different aspects of your work. So realize that you work in different fields, and as such, it means that you can look at how you could probably use comics to disseminate information to your clients, to communities that you work with, and so forth. And as I said before, you may have heard the word comic strip, graphic novel. Let me just give you a quick insight as what they are. So the comic is usually a panel of 8 or so strips. The comic strip is usually 3 or 4. So you'll see in the newspaper sometimes, or the last May comics, you know, 1 panel. So that is usually a comic strip. And then the comic is a little bigger. And then you have what they call graphic novels. So that is like a little book. So like the Archie books, I don't know if you used to read the Archie and the Jughead series, those are actually graphic novels because they tell a story from the beginning to end, and they tend to be quite a number of pages. But right now we're not looking at this kind of nuanced differences between them. We're just looking at the whole umbrella as comics and or graphic novels for today. So I have a video that I want to share with you that speaks quickly about and generally about graphic novels. So remember, we're using graphic novels and comic strips interchangeably for this particular session. Now, as you watch it, there are a couple of things that I want you to look out for. So whether we're talking about comics, comic strips, graphic novels, they all share a particular set of features. So when you look at it, you can say, oh, this is a comic strip, man, or this is a graphic novel, or this is a comic. So as you watch, I want you to look out for the different features that all comics or all graphic novels will have. All right. So let us take a quick look at that. If you need to turn your volume up, please do so. All right, so I'm going to play.
What is a graphic novel? Maybe you've heard of graphic novels. Maybe you've even read some. Maybe you've never even thought about it. A graphic novel tells a story in a comic book format. Basically, it's just another way to tell a story. So, what genre do graphic novels fall under? Graphic novels are not a genre on their own. Graphic novels can actually be any genre. Fiction, nonfiction, history, fantasy, any genre can be made into a graphic novel. Graphic novel is a format, not a genre. In other words, the term graphic novel describes how a book's content is put together. So what does a graphic novel actually look like? Let's take a look inside. Authors and illustrators who create graphic novels tell their stories in frames or panels. They use speech bubbles to communicate dialogue between characters. Illustrations follow the sequence of events, and the story has a beginning, middle, and end. When you read a graphic novel, you start at the top just like you would when you read a chapter book or picture book. You read from left to right and top to bottom. There are certain elements in a graphic novel that can help you understand the story as you read. First of all, the layout of a graphic novel is very important. Instead of long paragraphs of text like a chapter book, graphic novels are laid out in frames. The frames are the individual boxes or segments that contain the illustrations and text. In between the frames are the gutters. The gutters are just the empty spaces that separate the frames. When the creator of a graphic novel wants to show dialogue between characters, they use speech bubbles. This is a way to visually show which character is speaking. Thought bubbles are used to show what a character is thinking rather than what they're saying out loud. Sometimes a story calls for some sound effects. Instead of using speech bubbles, the illustrator might use bright colors or fonts to describe what a certain scene might sound like. Other times, a scene might need more explanation than what the characters are saying in their dialogue. The author might choose to add captions to fill in the gaps and help the reader understand what's happening in the story. Let's review what we've learned so far. Graphic novels are a format, not a genre. They tell a story in frames, using elements like speech bubbles and sound effects. Graphic novels tell a story with a beginning, middle, and end. When you're reading a graphic novel, remember that the creator wants you to enjoy the story. Take your time, look at the pictures and the words, and think about what is happening between the frames. Even though graphic novels might look a little different, they are real books, and they are a wonderful way to experience a story. Have fun reading!
All right, so as I said, this one is tailored for graphic novels, which are longer comics, if you will, but they give us a great idea, a very cohesive idea of what they do, how they look, and how they work. Okay, now pulling on what you used to do or still do when you read your comics and what the video shared, what are the key features of a comic or a graphic novel? So you can open your mic and let me know. So what must all comics have?
A beginning, middle, and end.
Okay, a beginning, middle, and end. Anything else?
A frame.
A frame, okay. So it has a frame because this is going to hold each of the scenes. Anything else?
Speech
Bubbles.
bubble.
Speech bubbles. So you have speech bubbles for communication out loud. And if you're thinking, what would we use?
Thought bubble.
The thought bubbles. Uh-huh.
And
Anything
to
else?
explain the scene, you can use caption.
Exactly. So like after a few days, so you wouldn't capture that in just looking at your comic, but that caption would tell you that, okay, a few days have passed. Anything else? I'm looking for two more things.
They don't use speech for like sound effect, so they would like use bright colors to give an idea of what sound is happening.
Or to write the word out. So if something crash, you would hear crash, you'd see the word crash, and right away you'd hear the sound in your head, or screech, or something like that. Very good. And the last thing that I'm looking for.
Illustration and text with the gutters. I don't know what
The
that's it.
gutters, right? So
Yeah.
the illustration and text are important, but the gutter, what exactly is the gutter again?
The space in between the frame.
The space between the frame. So if you think about reading a comic, you'd realize that some of the spaces are close together and some are wide enough, and making it easier to read or to follow the storyline. So all our comic strips, comics, comic strips, graphic novels have these features. So when you look at a regular story as against a comic strip, you can say right away that, oh, I know that this is a comic strip because it has the panels, that's your frames, it has speech bubbles, it has the sound effect being visually represented, it has the gutter, it has captions and so forth. All right. Now, after all of that excitement, the question that I want to ask is that you may say, all right, fine, it's great, it's beautiful, it can do things. Why would we want to use it in the whole area of community health and psychiatry? Well, we realize as educators that comics are very, very powerful tools. And in the field of community health and psychiatry, we realize that they can help us in other ways. They can simplify very complex ideas. So things like mental health, addiction, trauma, stigma can be relatively difficult to explain, especially in certain communities where the persons may not be privy to this kind of information. So it can be a bit challenging to be explaining it to them. If you use comics, however, you can use the image and the narrative to make it anything that is abstract or even sensitive, make it easier to understand and to digest. It also makes it easier to reduce the whole stigma that is attached to discussing certain health issues. So things that would be difficult for you to have a conversation with people with may be easier for you to share in a comic. It also humanizes lived experiences. What we mean by that characters in the comics can express emotions, confusions, and healing in ways that people who are reading them can connect to it. You can say, oh my gosh, so that's me. I woke up this morning and I was depressed and I didn't know why, and this person is going through that. So it makes it easier to humanize the lived experiences of the persons who we're engaging with. It improves recall and comprehension because the visual storytelling aspect helps your audience, your participants, your clients to remember the messages, especially when health literacy is a concern. So there is a saying that when I hear, I forget, when I see, I remember. So the visual storytelling aspect helps people to remember messages easier. Okay, and if of course there is the concern about literacy in the health aspect of it, it definitely helps. And it supports patient education. How does it do that? Well, it illustrates things like coping mechanisms, it explains symptoms, and it helps to normalize help seeking. So it helps your patient to understand that, listen, this thing is how you do it. This is a simple way to do it. This is an easily understandable way to do it. And finally, I have here that it enhances training. So for staff and students, you can use the comics to role play certain scenarios to stimulate thinking among your clients, to help with, to show them what different patient encounters may look like, or to demonstrate different communication strategies. So when you think about the area in which you operate, some people may say, oh, how pretty so and look so, and I have no use in the health in our area. That is something that we can denounce. Comics are quite useful, and they are a different way of communicating with your clientele, with patients, with students, and so forth. We're used to brochures and we're used to proposals and so forth. But again, depending on the community, the different types of community that you're engaging with, you have comics as a possibility that you can share. No. Does anything exist that shows the use of comic in the community health field? I did a search and I found quite a bit. I just wanted to share two with you. So I am going to share this one that looks at Marvel representation, so that there are different heroes, superheroes who share pain. So let me just share both with you, and then I'll talk a little bit about it. It should be coming up. Okay, so I found this site that says 10 must-read comics about mental health. And as I said, I zoomed in on mental health. I'm not staying there exclusively, simply because of the discussions. And these are comics that exist. And Daredevil, I don't know about you. I used to read my Daredevil comics, and it talks about Daredevil and how he tackles the depression. And then I realized that there is a new Daredevil, the Born Again, and this bad man found out who he is and was determined to take him down. And so he was showing very violent traits. And so this particular comic strip shows how a superhero And we all like the idea of superheroes, yes? So it shows how he addresses something as painful as depression. So this site has a number of comic strips that talk about different health issues. This one talks about the whole idea of adulthood and what adulthood is about and the responsibilities and so forth. This one talks about another superhero, the Green Lantern, who struggles with anxiety and panic attacks and how she deals with them. So all of these are dealt with in this particular webpage. And if you can, just gonna encourage you to take a look at it. So I didn't share this. I am going to share this in the chat. So you can take a look at comic strips and how comic strips can share reality. All right. So this has a number of them. And then there's another site that I want to share with you that I found. It should be coming up. I did click. And I'm going to share this one as well in the chat. So I've shared both in the chat. You can take a closer look. So this one is a comic book series that talks about how teens seek out mental health treatment, and it's called A Haunted Girl. And it's very interesting. I started reading a little bit about it and I found it very interesting. And I found it relatable because in our context where we have a strong oral tradition and we have, the whole dopey and that sort of thing. So this resonates with me because it talks about her being haunted by a supernatural being. And for persons who come from communities where there is that belief and that strong belief in these kind of oral traditions, this is something that is worth taking a look at and how this is dealt with. So and then there's research, of course, there's research that is done on the use of comic strip in the medical profession and how it is used to help to simplify certain difficult or abstract concepts and so forth. So we have real world examples of how comics can be used. And if you think about the context in which you're in, you can think about what challenges you face in your day-to-day work, whether or not the kinds of communication that you share with your clientele, with those who come to see you, your patients and so forth, whether or not the kinds of information is really getting across. You can think about whether you could use comics, whether you're going to do one panel or several panels to share the information where you can break it down into chunks. We call them chunks. That is bite-sized information that makes it easier to address and to understand. And so we believe that comics are great for that, especially in the medical field. You know that there are some things that can get very dense, very hard to understand. Any questions at this point? Any comments that you want to share? We're going to jump over into the real deal in a few. But any questions, any comments? The floor is open.
Question here.
Go ahead.
Have you found any information to support resistance to the use of comics by some patients or the person you're trying to reach out to?
I'm not hearing you
can
clearly.
imagine
I'm not hearing you clearly. Can you repeat?
Are you hearing me better?
Much better. Yes.
Right. I was saying, have you found any information / research to suggest that there is a resistance to the use of comics by some adults who possibly see it as childish, childlike, that kind of thing? And so rather than try to get the message from it, they kind of disregard it completely.
I haven't found any research articles. What I've found have been in discussion forums. So people talk about their anecdotal experience, but I haven't really seen anything in the publications that I've looked at. So people will share in different forums to say that, this is what we have found. But what I have seen also is that this kind of stigma where people figure that, oh, it's too childish, it's picnic stuff, tends to come from those who are more educated. And so, there's a thinking that it has to be difficult and you have to use big words and it has to be long and boring for it to be truly educational. So there is that thought that there is a school of thought there. But as I said before, these are all anecdotal discussions. And so this may not be as prevalent, but it does happen. I have dealt with persons when we started doing games, and they said, oh, it's pick the thing that you can't run up and down and laugh and carry on and be learning. Not many persons have that view, but the reality is that there are those of us who do feel that comic strips do not belong in this particular context, and comics are proving them to be wrong. I hope that answers your question.
Yep, it does.
All right, great. Any other comments or questions? You don't all have to talk at once. All right, so I'll take that you're fine and that we can move on. All right, so now we're going to create a lesson that a very basic lesson, something very simple that speaks about anxiety, mental health. As I said, I chose that particular topic, and we're going to be using Pixton. Now, why Pixton? Apart from the fact that Mrs. Walters asked us specifically to look at Pixton, Pixton is designed for educational purposes, all right? So it ensures that it is simple, the instructions are clear, you don't have to have a lot of any design experience, really. And unlike other comic creators, Pixton requires no drawing skills, so you don't have to worry about drawing. It has all these different templates in different categories where you pull the different design elements that you want. It has healthcare particulars. So there are times when we find a platform that works for us, but you can't really find the images that deal with your area. So this one does have some healthcare content so that you can put that in. It allows for you to build the characters when it comes on to representation. So you can build a patient, you can build your doctor, your dentist, your supervisor. And depending on how you're using it, you can filter appropriate material. Pixton is what we call a freemium tool, okay? So it means that it has a free tier and it has a premium tier. The free tier is just that it's free, but it has limitations. The premium aspect has much more features that you can use, and of course comes with a paid tag, a price tag. And for Pixton, the premium aspect has different levels. So you have 3 different levels that you can choose from depending on your pocket. Okay, so we're going to look at, for this one, we're going to look at the whole idea of taking the first steps, seeking help for anxiety. And this addresses, I believe, one of the most common barriers we as human beings face, not knowing how to access help. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this. No, I shouldn't stop sharing. I should end this. So let me end this, minimize. So you should be seeing your Pixton. So I'm going to log out so that we can do this together. Okay, so you will have to sign up. I'm already signed in, but I'm just gonna open it in a different chat so that I can show you how to go through the steps. All right. So I have shared the link with you, and I am going to open this in a different, let me just pull up Edge so that you can see. All right, so I'm gonna open it in Microsoft Edge. So I have pasted the link to Pixton in the chat. All right, so if you copy it and paste, or if you click on it, it should carry you here. So right now you're looking at the main page before you log in to Pixton. Is everybody seeing my screen? Is everybody following?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. And if at any point I'm going too fast, just post it in the chat. Mr. Williams will let me know, or just open your mic and say, could you repeat? Could you slow down? All right. So this is your page that you'll come to for the first time. I'm just going to walk us through the login process, but then I'll go back to my version. So when you come here, it has educator sign up and it has student sign up. It has login at the top. Login is if you have been here before. So you're not a student, so you're going to select the educator sign up. All right. So when you click on that, it's going to open something. And then of course it will ask if you want to sign up with Clever, with Google, or with Microsoft. Okay. It doesn't somehow give you the option to sign up with email when you're starting. So you can select, I'm going to select Microsoft for the sample. All right. Most times we tend to use our Google accounts, but I'm going to use my Microsoft Live. All right. So it is asking it, and so it will ask a couple of questions. Do you want the Pixton app to access your login information? When you do that, it will take you to this page. So I'm waiting on you. Please let me know if you are in.
Yes, I'm in.
Okay, great. Just waiting on the rest of us.
We just type in the app.pixton.com.
Yes. Or you click on the link that I shared in the chat. And if you already have the Pixton account, you log in and wait.
If we don't have the Pixton account, how do we get in? Because it was
All right, so in the chat, I have posted the link. So you go to app.pixton.com.
no man, I'm on the app, but it's asking me for sign in.
Right, so it's asking you to sign in with Clever or Google or Microsoft.
Yes.
Just select one of them. So if
I
you have a
selected
Google
Google.
account,
I
right?
selected Google, but it was telling me I don't have a Pixton account.
Oh, you clicked on login or sign up.
Oh, maybe that's what. Let me go back and
Yes.
see what I clicked
So
on.
it's down the bottom where it says educator sign up, student sign up, and up the top says login. So it's down the bottom where it says educator sign up or student sign up, but we're not students. So you would click on the educator. I don't know if I go back, if it will, no, it's not allowing me to go back. So when it tells you that you don't have a Pixton account, does it give you the option to sign up?
No, it didn't. It didn't. So I'm going to so I go down the bottom. You said
So you're seeing
educator
yeah.
sign up.
Yes.
Okay.
So because we don't have the account, we're going to select the educator sign up. What about the rest of us? Are we in?
Nope,
Yes.
not making any progress.
What is happening? The person who is not making any progress.
I'm going to try the link again. All right, so I must go to educator sign up.
Yes. If you don't have a Pixton account, you have to sign up.
Okay, sign up with Google. See what happens.
And please do not select sign up with Google if you don't have a Google account.
Oh, it's working
Yeah,
now. It's the
yeah,
educator said.
I think I'm in.
Okay,
I
great.
see my comics and everything that's on there too.
Beautiful. So let me talk a little bit about this interface. So when you come in, because you're an educator, this is what you would see. Educator in this case means that you're going to be creating the comics that you would share with your students or share with whoever it is you'll be sharing it with. At the top right here, you will see your name, okay? And then if you click the settings icon, it will give you some information. So you can edit your avatar. We're not going to spend a lot of time today editing the avatar, but the avatar, if you have time, if you're going to be using this platform, it's good for you to create the avatar. It simply takes you through some steps. So you select a gender, skin color, you know, that sort of thing, and your name, your avatar. You can upgrade. So this is where you would, so we're on the free plan, and it tells you what you can do under the free plan, and they have some special aspects for the free plan, and they tell you how you can qualify. And then they have what they call a super plan and a school plan, and then the solo plan. So when I told you that this is the one that I work on, you know, it's actually $9.99. This is the plan that I work with. And I decide how I want to do it. So when I click on it, I get the option where I can, it says $9.99. So well, this one doesn't. I don't know if it's because of the browser, but I actually get the option to select monthly or yearly payment. So I do monthly because there are times when there's a long period when I don't use it and I don't want to be charged for that. All right. And then you'll see where you can log out and do other things. Okay, when you actually sign up, it gives you a few more options. And then you can always use the arrow to move to and fro. Here is where we will be building our comic strip. So there is a setup checklist where they're telling you these are some things that you can do. You can just simply click the minimize arrow to get rid of that. If you have different classes that you use it with or different groups of clients that you use, you can set them up here. You wouldn't have anything yet, and it would ask you for some basic information. So when I switch over, you'll see that I have different groups. The different activities that you have will turn up here again. So by default, the first time you log in, it's going to ask you for some basic information. And resources, if you're new to the whole graphic visual storytelling, this helps big time because it gives you an introduction to comics. It has lesson ideas. It has ideas to start your story. It has printables. It has so many different things here. This is a very good place to be, the resources. But the bulk of what we'll do will be right here. And then, of course, because you have not been using Pixton before, you will create your first comic here, okay? And at the bottom right, you'll see some information where you can get help, and you can search for answers. So you can put in, let me just put in one word to show you how this works, and it gives you a series of different things where you can get help. Okay, so that is your Pixton interface signing up. Now, because I have an account, I am going to log in. It also means that because you have now signed up, going forward, you would come to the login. Okay, so down here is for signing up, up here is for logging in. So when you log in, it asks you the same thing if you want to log in with Clever, Microsoft, or Google. And then your students would see, I'm a student with a class code, because you can actually have students in a class where you have them create. So the thing about Pixton is that you, the facilitator, don't have to create alone. You can also set it up so that your students create their own comic. So let me just log in and we'll continue. And remember, if I'm going too fast, slow me down. And one of the things that you're going to do whenever you're going to create your comic, ensure that you work it out. You know, I tend to, even though I am digital based and I work with comics and so forth, just getting a pen, I tend to work things out on paper. So I have my paper where I work out my plan and so forth. So this is mine. And as I said, because I've been working with it before, I will have a preview of different comics that I have done. And then I've created characters. So there are characters that you're provided with, but you can create your own characters. So I have created a couple of characters, and those would be here. Under my groups, I have my different groups. So I've used it with different classes. And under activities, I didn't have any activities. Look at that. And the resources you have met. Okay. So since you're doing this for the first time, you would click in the button that says create my first comic. If you're not using this for the first time, you'd click on new comic. Okay, so go ahead and click on create my first comic. You should all be where I am. When you are, please let me know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're there?
Yes, there.
Yes,
Okay,
there.
great. Now, this is your canvas. This is your working space. This is where you'll build everything, test it, preview and all. There are several aspects to it. So let me see how quickly I can break it down for you. Up here where it says untitled comic, this is where you would click to write the name of your comic. All right. And for this comic, I am going to put seeking help. All right. So you just click in there and you can click the enter on your keyboard. So this is where the name of your comic comes up. To the extreme left, you will see a spectrum of colors which have text. So the first one has background, okay? So on the background, you have different scenes and you have abstract. So you have different scenes, you have, so all of these are different backgrounds. You have weather backgrounds. And then for photos, this is where you can actually upload photos. So this, I have uploaded a couple of photos just to show people how it works. So you can drag your image here.
Excuse me, what did you click to get there? Create my first comic?
Yes.
When I click
And
on
then-
that, it's telling me that I've reached the end of my free trial.
When you click on create my first comic,
Yes.
did anybody else get that?
No.
No.
Can you share your screen?
I got that, but then I played around with something and then it came off. I know I'm on the page that you are. So I can't remember what I
So
did.
what's your plan? Can you refresh your page and see if it comes back? Because it really shouldn't tell you that. So who is the person who is getting, you have reached the end of your free trial? Who is the person who got the error message? Because that is an error message.
Oh, let's think.
Try refreshing and see if that helps. Because nobody else seems to have that. Well, one person said she got it, but she fooled around, but she doesn't remember what she fooled around and did. So if you refresh the page, let's see if it comes off. So let me know, lessons. I'm waiting. Do you want to share your screen? Lessons.
1 second, I have to come off the Zoom page in order to try and follow. So it's not easy for me to.
Ah, okay, okay. Colleagues, just a minute. We don't want to leave anybody behind.
Well, I can't share my screen because you're already sharing.
Oh, I can stop sharing. Let me stop. You can go ahead. So
That's
click the
character.
X and all right, click, that's character. click on my comics. So my comics is to the left. All right, click create my first comic again. Ah, there you are. Okay, so you're where I am. I'm gonna stop your sharing so that I can go back. You're good, lessons? I'll take
Yes, I'm
the-
good.
Okay, all right. So the first section is your background, and if you click on each of these, it will give you different backgrounds that you can use. And if you have a particular background that you want to put in, you know, you don't necessarily like the backgrounds that you have, you can simply drag it or click and upload it. All right, I don't think I have any background on my computer that I can share, but let me just put an image to show you what would happen. Okay, so my PNG that I'm uploading is larger than 2 megs. So it means that you have to ensure that whatever it is you're using is a relatively small file, less than 2 megs. All right. So we leave that, but you can simply just click here and look for the image that you want to put in there. All right. And it doesn't have to be just a background. All right. Well, ideally it's a background because that is where we are. All right, so this is the background that will help you to set the consistency of where your characters are located. When you click on characters, you will realize that you can create a character in this cartoon that we're setting up, this comic. And so you have add a person or add a toon, or what's the difference? A toon are these, okay? So you can use this to search, or you can click on this to filter. All right, so you can do the filtering or you can use the search. So these are your tools. All right, if I want a person, these are the persons that I've created already. I would click add a person, and then it would give you basic. So this is for my class, but basic, you'll see that you have casual outfit. These are for real people who actually exist. These are literary, and this is custom, where you actually build your person. All right, so you would click on new character to build somebody from scratch. And then you have creatures, so you can add a creature. So depending on the kind of storyline that you're telling, you can add a creature. So these are your characters, all right? And then of course you can add objects. So depending on whatever it is that you're doing, you have handheld objects, and you have the left hand, whether the thing is going to be in the left hand or the right hand. If it's going to be up or down. You won't see anything here until we actually use it. And then you have props. So you have the handheld props, and then you have other props. So if you're setting up a hospital scene, you might want to have an ambulance on the outside, that sort of thing. Okay. And then there is a section for graphics. So you can put these. Remember when we said that you can use certain word images, and so for sounds, you may use some of these here, or you can use them for other things to enhance your scene. And then there is something that's called focus. So this is where when we select a scene, it makes it a little bit easier, where you focus on a character or on a particular section of a building. So you use that. And then they have 3 levels. So you have regular, you have the dramatic, but you have to have people or tunes in there to see that. And then there is the location. Again, if it's a location thing, I clicked on it, it will highlight a particular section. All right, I don't want this in there at all. So I'm going to undo. So I can easily use the arrows to undo. When it comes to words, there's an assumption that we have chosen our persons. So each time I click on this, because we don't have anybody set up as yet, it's going to ask me to add somebody. So I'll show you after we add our character. But this is where you can do your speech, whether you speak aloud or you use your thought bubble. And the captions, which help to tell what is happening, we find them here. And then remember, we talk about sounds are captured. So here you have your sounds, and they're set up like the comics. All right. And then when we select our particular character, we can give different expressions, eye directions, and that sort of thing. And then we have poses. All right. Now, none of these will make much sense unless we create our characters. So let us go back to the background where we're gonna work. To the right of all of this, you'll see a big white screen. This is our canvas where we will work. And then to the right of that, we'll get a little preview and we can add more panels. Remember, panels are the different frames in which we'll work. Okay, so are we ready to create our comic strip? Say yay if you are.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so let us go to background and let us go to, background and let us go to scene. So we're going to look for a scene that works, and I'm going to see if I can find something like a bedroom. So I'm going to, by default, the blank one will be ticked. So we're looking for a bedroom or a home, depending on the situation. We're looking at, let me put bedroom and see what comes up. So we're looking for a bedroom scenario. So let's see if we have anything. I'm trying to work with my paper, with my notes, as well as using the computer. Bedroom. Okay, so there are bedrooms here, a number of them. So you can look through and decide which one you want to use. I'm gonna select this one.
I have to use the bedroom.
No. For the scene that I'm setting up, I'm using a bedroom. But you can use any scene. It really depends on the story that you want to build.
The bedroom
Okay.
is kind of cozy.
So what's wrong with a cozy bedroom? All right, let me change it to this one. It look less cozy.
You don't have to take me on, it's fine.
All right, so this is the room that I'm going to start out with. And so as soon as you have your background, you can then move on to your character. So let us click on character, and then let us click on add a person. You may have something that says in this comic. So if it says in this comic, you can click on add a person. Now I keep getting this because I already added somebody, but I'm going to go across to custom, and then I'm going to click on new character. So this is where I'm going to build my character. So the age of this person is adult. So I want an adult. I am thinking of an adult male. All right. And please let me know if I'm going too fast. I want my male to be a little bit on the chubby side. So I'll select him. I have my skin tones. I want him to be dark colored. Okay, I'll work with this one. So I select his skin tone. The next thing is that, go ahead.
When we try to add character, it now shows us you've reached your limit. Well, I get the message now, you've reached your limit.
It shouldn't. You're just building your first character. You're on the free
No, I built a
version.
character already for my avatar.
Oh, so you can use that one. So it only allows you one character
Okay.
in the free tier. I don't know much about the free tier because I haven't been using the free tier. So you're helping me to understand. So if you already build your character, you can delete it and build again from scratch, or you can use that one.
All right, thank you.
Miss, I haven't built a character, but it's showing me the same thing.
This is listen.
No, Catherine.
You haven't built a character?
No.
This is so interesting.
How do I get that to stay? Because there is no, I don't know. Maybe
There's
more
no-
fool. Wait.
No, you're not foolish. So wait. So let's deal with one first. So you haven't built a character, but it's telling you that you have reached your limit.
Yes.
Well, clearly this is a glitch on the system. I don't know what to tell you to do to get rid of it. All I can say is try what we were doing before, refreshing the page, clicking from character to my creation to see if that helps. If not, can you follow along, and then we'll try to see why you're getting that. Is there anybody else getting that message where you can't create your character? No? Okay, so
Yes,
clear.
same here.
Not
I'm
currently.
getting
Having the
Not
same issue.
so we have some
yes.
persons getting the issue and some not. So apparently it's a glitch with the platform and not necessarily with what you're doing.
Oh, I just use a Toon Dog.
So if you use, also you can use a toon dog instead of the character,
That's what I did, and it's fine. So
and
I
it's
don't know.
fine. All right, so try working around with it until we can figure it. So if you can't build a character, just go for one of the toons. Okay, just for us to show you how it works. But clearly it seems to be an issue with the tool and not with you, because some persons don't have an issue and some persons do. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna continue building the character so that we can have on the recording what happened. So you can select the hair color. You can then decide on the hairstyle that you're going for. So I'm just going to look for a hairstyle that might be appropriate for this person. All right, so I'll go with that for now. Let's see what this one looks like. All right, so let's work with that. And so of course you have different options that you can select. And then here you can decide if you'll have a mustache and a beard. I'm going to give him both here. And then his eye color. So I'm going to give him light brown eyes. And so you go through, and it also wants to know what kind of expression that he'll have. So, so you can select one. All right, I'll work with that one. And then you can put an outfit on him. Now, please remember that this has quite a number of outfits, so you may have to do a little bit of searching. So there he is. For me, I'm happy with that. And there is my character that I've created for my comic. So there he is. Oh, I didn't name him. So let me give him a name.
I don't see that thing that when you finish and you click a while ago when you create the character, I don't have that. I just have a back arrow and a forward arrow, and the arrow can't go forward anymore.
So you
only the
don't
back arrow.
see end?
No.
Huh. And I am trying to name my character and it's not allowing me to name him at all. All right, weird.
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead.
Because to get over that hurdle, you can just use one of the basic characters and then change the color and all of that. Well, that's for me.
That's what you did.
Yes.
All right, great. So I don't know if you heard. I'm gonna call him Daniel. You can just use one of the basic characters that come with the tool, and then you can change the outfit and so forth. So that should help.
We could call him Alex.
Call him Alex? Okay,
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, that's a good name. Yeah.
Why is Alex a good name? He looks like an Alex?
So we all
Yeah, it
like
looks like an Alex.
All right.
We all like Alex.
All right, so this is my Alex, and I'm putting him in. So this is the default pose, all right? I want to go down to the bottom where it says faces and actions, all right? But I want the action first. I want him, so this is actions, and actions give us effects and body poses, right? So under actions, I'm going to click on body poses. When I click on body poses, you realize that there are a lot of poses that I can give him. Well, in this version, there's a lot. I don't really know if it's the same thing for the free version. And then there are different directions that I can put him. So I can have him look forward, and I would want to have him forward because I want to have him sitting. So I'm looking for something where he's sitting. I like this one where he's thinking, because I want him to think, but then I wanted him to be sitting while he's thinking. So it means that you'd have to scroll through to look for the pose that works for you, all right? So I'm going to keep this one because I want him to sit, and based on what you're seeing, there are so many. I want him to, I could also use this one, but I'll keep the one that I have. So you realize that there are a number of them that you can scroll through and select. So I'll keep this one. And then this is effects. I don't want any of these things on him. I just want to have him here. So let me have him stand here, and you can just click on the character when it's like that and move it. So if you click on it, you can move him anywhere and you can resize him accordingly. Okay. I want him to look a little bit worried. So I can go to expression and I can look at the expressions that are there. Yes, he looks worried here. So I've selected worried. And if you want to make it bigger so that you can see what you're doing, you can easily use the button down the bottom. All right, so you can do that. So I just want him here. So he looks worried. So you can put a facial expression on your character. You can make him bigger, you can make him smaller. Okay, and then now I want to put my start the conversation. Okay, so I would go to where it says words, and then I go to speech, and then I want a thought bubble, so I click on the thought bubble, and then I type what I want to go in here. So I am going to let him say something like, I've been feeling anxious for weeks. My heart races, so it's continuing his conversation. My heart races. And I can't sleep. Maybe I should talk to someone. All right, so when I have done that, what I do is that I select the tick, which will then create my thought bubble. Here it is. And I can move it a little bit. And when I move it, you realize that the, what do you call this? The directional thing comes closer to his head so that you can see that he's the person thinking. All right. So here we have our first comic that we are working on so far. Now, one of the things that you can do, so this is our first panel that we have created. Of course, I am working on this particular one. You can be doing something else. You can then tweak it if you feel the need to tweak it so that it change, you know, you want to change the expression or you want to change its position. You simply go back over here and do so, okay? Then over here to the right, if I click the plus sign, it means that I can create another panel. Of course, you can also copy the panel that you have. So there are 3 dots at the top right of your panel. And if you click copy, it will create a copy of your panel. It should create a copy panel, duplicate panel, I'm sorry, duplicate panel. So the duplicate panel will give you a second panel that is here, and it is numbered. Please note there is 1 and there is 2, okay? All right, so here he's thinking, and the reason that I'm thinking about this is that we're trying to normalize this kind of internal behavior. People think about how they're feeling and think about whether or not they should do anything about it. So people can relate to that. So on the second panel, we are now going to have Alex making a phone call, all right? So it means that I would have to find some kind of prompt that would have him making a call. And then this, of course, would change, all right? So I can delete this for now because I don't want it as yet. So if you select it, remember that when it highlights, when you see that little color around it, it means that you have highlighted it. And then I can just click the X and it will get rid of it for me. All right, so I'm going to click on, yes?
Could you say again how to save this panel and duplicate it?
Okay, so at the top to the very right, there are 3 dots. So if you click on the dots, you'll see clear panel, insert, blank, duplicate, copy, paste, move panel, download image, remove panel. So you're going to click on duplicate panel. And
Okay,
it
thank
will, no problem. Okay. So for this particular one, I want my character to have a phone in his hand. All right. So of course his pose is going to be slightly different. So I go back to action and I am going to see if I can find something that says talking on phone. I don't know if it has anything like that. Oh yes, so it has a position, a pose where he's so there, and then I would want his face to be face front. So let me see. If he's talking, he would have his mouth open, don't it? Let me search for talking. So this is one of the things you can always do a quick search. Okay, so these are talking. All right, let me use this one. Okay, and then I want him to look face forward. And then I want his head to be this way. All right, I don't know why his head looking over there. So let me see if I can facing forward. But the facing forward doesn't have him talking. Let me see if I could use this one. All right, so you realize that you'd have to scroll through to see if you see something that could work as somebody having a phone in his hand. Let's see this one. Not really, but I'm going to use this one for now because there's so many you would have to search. And then I want to put a prop in his hand. So I'm going to go to handheld props and I'm going to put it in his left hand. That's his left hand, right? And I'm going to do a search for a phone. Oh, his cell phone in hand. Okay, so it's the wrong hand I have it in. I want it in his right hand. Oh, that's what it does. All right, and let me remove it from the left hand. So I'll just deselect it. Come on, phone, delete. Excuse me, I just deleted my character.
Considering that we're there, how do you delete the words that was there before? What he was saying?
You click on it and then you'll see an X at the bottom of the panel.
Okay.
All right, so let me get that phone out of his hand. So let me go back to my handheld props and I go back to the left hand and I click on the null. Okay, there we go. All right, and this is where we are going to have him talking. So he's making a phone call. I would have to change the position of the hand, but for now we'll work with that. And he's making a phone call. And so I would want to have a solid speech bubble. So when I go here, I would select speech and then I write what he says. All right, so here he says, I'd like to come in to talk to somebody. Oh, anxiety spell it A-N-X-I-E-T-Y. All right, so he says, I'd like to come in to speak about my anxiety. All right, and then you click that. Now, one of the things that we will want to do is to split the scene, okay? Now, I don't know how to split a scene, so we are going to find out together. Let me just put Robert down here, Alex down here a little bit more. So we want to ensure that we have a scene where two persons are in. I've never tried it before, but we are going to figure this out together. So let me see if I put, I don't know how to do that. Let us see how we would do something like that. All right, so I can add another character, but I would need another background for the character. Okay, so in the event that we can't do that, we just have Robert and we create another scene. Okay, so I'm creating another scene, and for this scene, I'll change the background, and I'll change the background to an office. That is not bedroom, I'm looking for office. All right, and this is all right, so we're looking for an office. All right, let's use this one. And then we don't want Robert in the office, we want a female. So this is where I'll delete Robert and I will add a female. So let's add this female. And I want her to be in front of the desk. Oh, well, I could put her behind the desk and have some things on it. So this is where I can add my props. So I want her face front. She can keep the outfit that she's on. So you realize that this is where you would spend some time trying to go through and normalizing the information. So I am going to have her on a phone. So I'll go to objects. So I'm going to look for the phone, and that is what, the right hand. So I want the phone in the right hand. Oh, come on. So the phone is supposed to be in the left hand. So I want the phone in the left hand. Oh, it is in the left hand. So let's remove it from the left hand, and I want the phone in the right hand. All right, so you realize that you'll have to, yes, this works. So she has the phone, and I'm going to put some props in the office. Okay, so I am going to put some papers on her desk or books. So let me see if I can find some books. So you can build your, I asked for books and it tells me that it can't find any books. So I'm going to put a plant in and I can resize. So you'll realize that anything that you put in, you can just resize. And then let me put, let's see if I find papers. I need something to put on our desk. Okay, so, oh, nice. So, and here is an open thing. I'll put that here instead. So she can be looking at it when she's making that. So, and it replaced my plant that I had. So I'm just going to add the object and put back my plant because I really liked the plant. All right, so I put it here and then I'll make it just a little bit bigger because you know those offices that have big one. And he is asking something. So this is where we'll let her say, yes, you can come in on such and such a day. All right. So I'm going back to Word. So you notice that it's the same set of things that you keep going through to put in the information. So he called and she says, what is she going to say? She's going to say, of course, we're available this Thursday at 2. Okay. So, of course, we are available this Thursday at 2 p.m. All right. And I want it closer to our head. So I'm moving this. Come on. And I should be able to move this part of it, but it is not working with me at all. So I'll just flip it so that it turns. Oh, I'll just flip it. All right, so you notice that I'm trying to flip this, but it is my plant that is moving. And I don't want my plant to move, I want this to move. All right, so let's go back and try to see what's happening. Okay, let me try to flip this again. Still the plant moving. So clearly there are some kinks in this, but I'll just rest that here for now. Suppose it wants her to be here, so let's put her there. And then I'll put this here. So you may have to be a little bit creative. And then I probably want to change her outfit since she looked like she have on sneakers. So I could easily change her outfit and put something else on her. So let me just change the outfit that she has on. I go to character, I go to in this comic. Here she is, and I am going to ensure that she is in something that's a little more professional. What kind of workwear these are? Oh, this looks like a nurse, there we are. So we'll use this one. Okay. And she says what she is. Now we're going to add what we call what do you call that thing a few moments later? What we call that thing that tells that time has passed? What do we call it? The caption.
Caption.
The caption, right. So I need a sort of lounge area, living room area where the two of them can sit. So I'm gonna put
I
lounge.
don't think I can pass slide 3. The same thing pop up now.
Oh no. Anybody else has passed that slide? Anybody has passed the third panel?
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right. So clearly it is something that is happening with the platform because somebody else has passed. So it is clearly something that's happening with the platform. All right. So for those of us who manage to move, you can move along. For those of us who are working on finding out how to get this message off, can you follow, please? All right, so what I'm doing here, I'm just removing the additional props and so forth. And so I'm going to make her sit right here, but it means that I'll have to change her position. Okay, so you realize that much of what we're doing is that we're moving between poses. And let me see if I can have her sitting. If I put sit, I'll see if it comes up. So sit. I don't think it follows instruction very much when you're searching, you know, because none of these don't really look like sitting to me.
You passed one sitting, you know.
You found one sitting?
You passed
I
one.
passed one.
Yeah.
All right, let's try again. Okay, so these work. These work. So I'll have her sitting and then I'll put her here on the sofa and I'll make her just a little bit smaller so that it actually looks as if she's fitting on the sofa. All right, and then I am going to insert Alex because I need Alex in here as well. So in this comic, I am going to add, where is my Alex? Oh, there it is. So I'm going to add Alex as well. And it will tell me now that it's Alex and her. So I want Alex to sit as well. So I go to the pose and I go to sit for Alex. Okay, great. Now he's a little bit bigger than the chair. So I'm just making him a little bit smaller, putting him here. And then this one should put him behind. So this have him before. I want to put him behind. Let's see what happens. Oh, he doesn't really fit neatly in there, but let me see how best we can make him a little bit smaller so it don't look as if he's mashing up the people in the chair. All right, So we can work with this for now. So we have the two characters in the same place, and so we want the two of them to talk. So Alex is going to say something simple like, let me see what I had jotted down. So he goes, he's gonna say something like, I wasn't sure that my feelings were serious enough for you to talk to me. All right. So I'm going to go to words. I'm gonna go to speech, and it is Alex who I want to talk here. So I click add words. It's speech that he's going to be saying. So he's going to say, I didn't think my feelings were serious enough for you to talk to me. For you to talk to me. All right. And then I click the tick box, and it will bring that over Alex's head. So if I move it just a little bit, it makes a space. And then now I want Michelle to talk. So when Michelle is the character that I created. So for Michelle, I'm gonna click on speech, and she's gonna say something like, of course, all persons matter. All persons matter, and your feelings are important. Now, this is just us making a very simple, all feelings matter. Something very basic to bring across the concept of mental health, anxiety, seeking help. Okay. Now, when I'm finished with that, and I think I am finished, and we actually have 4, what I would do is I would click on done. Okay. When I click on done, it gives me a little preview. So this is the name of my comic, Seeking Help. These are the different panels or the different frames. Okay. Oh, you know what we didn't have? A few days later. So let me go back in and click on edit. And I go to the one where both of them are talking, and I go to caption. All right. So this is my caption. So I select the one that I want. So I can put the text at the bottom, and then I can have a few days later. So this is how we add our caption. And then I click the tick, and it will turn up here. So when I click on done, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is my 4 panel. I have the name, I have my panels, I have my information, I have different persons talking, and then I am ready to share it. There are different ways that you can share it. So when you click on share, and of course, if you want to edit, you can go back in and edit. And then there are 3 dots which allow you to duplicate the comic. So you can duplicate it and change a few things, or you can delete it. We're not interested in doing any of that. We want to find out what it looks like when we share it. So I want to show you something that's interesting. You can download it, you can print it, or you can create a link. I'm going to show you what all 3 look like. If you click on download, and gives you options for what it might look like. So you can have it look like this, you can have it look like this, like this, or like this. So I'm going to click on this one, all right, so that you can see what they look like. It's going to ask me to save it as an image. So I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to share it with you in a few. So seeking help, and I'm going to put the word comic. So when you download it, it saves it as an image. Okay, so I'm going to click save. I'm saving it on my desktop. When I click on print, it asks me if I want to do it as a comic strip or as a graphic novel. Now I like the layout here, so I'm going to select graphic novel. And then it's going to open my printer, and I'm going to save it as a PDF. Okay, so that will come up in just a few. Okay, that's not coming up. Let's see what went wrong. Let's click on that again. Okay, here it is now. All right, so it looks like this. If I change, all right, so you know how most times when you click the print, it gives you the option for landscape or portrait. I don't know why it's not giving me this, but at least this way it saves it as a PDF. So this I am going to call Seeking Help Comic so that you can see the different views. And then the third way that you can share this is by doing the link. So if I click on the link, it gives me copy link. The link comes up here and I can paste it. Now I'm going to paste it in the chat. Okay. So I'm going to paste the link in the chat so that you can look at it. The other thing that I'm going to do is I am going to open my Edge so that you can see what the shared link looks like. So if you have somebody who has an email address or who has a WhatsApp or so, you can share the link. And this is what the link would look like. Okay. So these are the level, and this is the one on the bottom, because remember we selected the option that has the 3 small image and then the big image. So that is why this looks like that. Okay. So it has the name of the comic. It says that it's made with Pixton because that is marketing for them. It has the information here. Now, you can give the first panel, you can put the title of your thing, Seeking Help. So the very first panel can have somebody talking and it says Seeking Help. You don't have to just put it here. Okay, the information is there. It's plain, it's simple. And I did say we're going to do something very simple. And then you can see. Now, as you look at this one, you realize that we probably needed to carry this text box over this speech bubble over a little bit more because the W is dropping off. So we would have to carry it over closer to his head. And then of course, this is there. I have off in capital letters. So of course it means that I would go in. So one of the things this tells us is that we have to ensure that we double check it before we share it. Okay, so that is if we shared the link. I'm going to share the image with you to show you what the image would look like. All right, so I'm just opening it up for you. So this is what the image would look like. And the image looks like this because of the option that we selected. So we selected the one that had the 3 small panels at the top and a big panel at the bottom. So if you have something that's really important, you can emphasize that one by selecting the one that shows that. Okay. And then in terms of the comic strip that we had downloaded, the PDF version, the printable version, this is what it would look like. So this is 200. Let me just make it a little smaller. So that's 100%. So this one is nice because it has 1 there and then it has three here. Okay. So this emphasizes that it's a problem and it's a good fit for me because it sets the stage. He's in his bedroom. He's looking very worried. And so he makes his call, she answers, and then they meet a few days later. Okay, so in the simplest of sense, that is your Pixton at work. Any questions, any comments? Is this something that you can use if you think about it? Is this something that you can use to communicate with your respective persons? Comments? Questions?
Yeah, well, I believe it's something very useful, especially for me. I'm thinking about it with respect to public health dentistry. I think this will be very useful in schools when we go in to speak with children, or with things we can probably leave behind there in classrooms or on board.
Okay, thank you so much. Who was that?
Phillips.
Who?
Andrew Phillips.
Oh, I thought you said Alex for a minute. Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew. Anybody else? So Christopher has shared a file. Let us take a quick look at Christopher's file. I'm going to share the screen and share your file, Christopher. I hope you don't mind. Okay, so Christopher has he used a tool, he has a thought. I love this. He has the whoosh, so he has the sound coming in. You see the star, and he says, oh, this is beautiful. My wish would be for you to be next to me. And it's a beautiful starry night, and there it is. Ah, this is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else wants to share?
I think it's fun to use and it's quite simple. I don't think it's that complicated. So definitely something that I'd use.
All right, so just a few things. If you're going to explore this, what you realize is that the free version is a little bit icky. So I would suggest that if you're going to test this using the, yes, it's very nice, Chris. Somebody says nice one, Chris. I would suggest that you test this using the paid version, and you can use the starter version. It's $10, so and you can test it for just a month. So $10 is all, like $1,500. So you can test it. You can probably pool one person pay for it and several of you log in and use it. So that is an idea to maximize on the paid version. But you'll realize that the paid version allows you to do so much more than the free version, and that it doesn't keep giving you those hitchy, glitchy messages that says you have already completed your free version. What you could also do is, if you're going to pursue the free version, there is something that tells you how to qualify. So you can look at the qualifying thing. If it's something that you need to sign up or complete a survey or something like that, you can do that, and it may get rid of the little glitches that we have. But when you're doing something like this, depending, I mean, you can use it in just about any one of the areas that you're in. Think about who you're doing it for, your audience. Think about their general characteristics. If these are people who don't read a lot, you probably don't want to put a whole heap of complex terms. So you'll have to simplify it as much as possible, and capitalize on your images and the sounds and so forth. Because as I said, I don't know anybody who hasn't read a comic. And so you may find that your community that you reach out to are the community may be a little bit more accommodating. Somebody else has shared a file. So let me just take a look at that one. Okay, so there's another file. So I am going to share my screen again so that you can just get a look at what this file is. Let me just open it and then I'll share my screen. So I see that you were busy working while I was working. I love this kind of engagement. It's what I love. So, and Jaliv, I genuinely, I love it. And I will fear no evil. And then there is the snake and the lion, and he captured this character. It's a he, right? It's a person who shared it.
Yes,
Dwight, yes. And I love it. I love it. You see your speech bubble and you see the narration coming in and that. Thank you so much for sharing. And you see what you can do with it. Yes, you're in the field of medicine and healthcare and community care and psychiatry, but you can use it with other circles. You can use it in other circles to do other things. If there's anybody else who want to share anything else that you were working on, you can do so while I just continue to wrap this up. But I'm really loving what I'm seeing. It's really nice. Yes, and you can use it to write a book. So this is where your graphic novel comes in. It can be an illustrated book, very simple, very easy to follow. You have your consistent character, because once you create your character, is the same character you use, and you have all these different poses that you can use. So it's really a cool tool that you can use. One of the things that you need to think about also when you're doing this, work out your storyline first. Work out exactly what your comic will look like, what exactly it is, the message it is bringing across. And then remember that it's about visual storytelling. So more visuals, less text as much as possible. It's your visual media at work. Make sure that in your first panel, you put the name of the comic, and you put your name, created by, illustrated by, you understand, that sort of thing, so that people recognize that this is work that you have done and you have come up with the idea. And if at any point the idea wasn't yours, you can put you know how they said, conceptualized by, developed by, you can do something like that. Use your characters that are reflective of your community, of your context, of your circle. Use your colors because that is going to help. And of course, update your, if you can go in and update, find different ways to share. Have fun with the process, okay? It's relatively easy to use. You realize that it's just a matter of practicing that will make it better. So start, explore, look at how you can use it. If you wish to share with the settle, please, we encourage you to do so if this is something that you use. But again, think back of the persons for whom you're creating this. You should have a basic idea of who they are. So make sure that they're at the forefront of the thinking. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for other persons. So make sure that the message that you want to carry across is clear, and that you think of the level, the characteristics, the features of the persons you're doing this for, so that you can use the appropriate language, the appropriate terminologies, and so forth, and go wild with it. Document what you do, how you do it. You may get some research out of it somewhere, but have fun. One of the things that I tend to say to others is that start small. It was ambition that killed Caesar, right? So start small, start with 2 panels, and then based on how you feel, you can extend it, and ask the people who you share this with, what you feel about this. Is this something that we can continue using? Was it clear enough for you? So that you have a feel of how it works. It's different, but it's something that is intriguing. People want to read it because it has the images that help to explain so many things. Any questions at this point? Any comments? I see somebody else has shared something. All right, so I'm going to share this one. So I thank you for sharing in the chat. So this is another one. You should be seeing it. So there's the narration coming in. There's the image. It already starts telling the story from the first panel. And then there is breaking news. So this is a zombie outbreak. And then there is the thought bubble. The person. So you see, you don't have to say the zombie entered the room and the person started to run hurriedly out, because that is already set up for you just by the actions. And then the military is called in, just that blank thing with just the narration that works beautifully. And then you see the sounds, so you can actually hear the information that is going on. Thank you so much for sharing this one. This is from Dwayne. So thank you so much for sharing this. But yes, there are so many things that you can do with the app. I did say that it is something that the whole idea of creating your comics, you can use different tools, but this is just to expose you to another tool and just to give you a basic, it's a whetting of the appetite. So we gave you a basic overview of what you can do with it, and how you can use it. So please remember your clientele, your participants, your students, whatever context in is you're working, just remember who this is for. Remember the message should be clear. It's visual storytelling, so ensure that the images are clear and that they tell the story that you want. So you don't have to put too much text in your narration. And as I said before, have fun with it. And if you use it, share with us. So that is it from us. I am asking any last words before we wrap this up and call it a day.
I do thank you so much, Michelle. And I'm just thinking about how, although we do from a platform to build their capacity in terms of their job function, I am seeing it happening personally with them and the children, having fun time, or grandchildren, if they're at my age, having this fun time doing all of these things, and it helps to build the creativity of the younger ones around them. So it's something, a tool that can be used in whole life, all of life. So I hope they do have an appreciation for what it is that they were exposed to today, and don't just put it on the burner, but play with it, get used to it and let it work for them.
Yes.
I will know. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking that, yes, I use it for work and I use it for my personal things as well. You know, I have the paid version. So I do create the ones that look very official, have a nice little cover page and presents the information in such a simple way. And then I use it for the younger ones. I have children that I help out with every now and again, and I use my comics with them a lot. So yes. And there are times that I actually have them create, you know, for the little bigger ones, I carry them there and I say, okay, let us create something. Show me what you can do. So I do agree it can be used for both professional and personal purposes. Go ahead, please.
And as Dr. Stevenson said that evening, interacting with the children, because part of what they do in the industry is that they do go into the school system to interact with the children. And so that's a really nice way of presenting the factual information to them in a way that is appealing to them. So there are so many ways in which this can be utilized. You can be doing a presentation even with an adult audience, and you come with your little Pixton cartoon, and that set the stage for your discussion that you are going to be having with them. So it's quite a useful tool that can go places.
I must share with you that I actually did a workshop before on Pixton, and I used the Pixton to teach the entire session. I created the comic strip, showed them what it looked like and how to move on with it. So yes, it's something that you can explore. So please have fun with it. Reach out to the settle if you need any kind of assistance. We're more than happy to help. Look at use case examples, look at best practice, you know, that happens in your field. There are comic strips, I realize, in just about every one of these areas in which you work. So look at what exists, and as much as you can, you know, use what you that which fits our context, our realities. So much of the comics you may find may have a lot of European or North American looking people. We are from the Caribbean, so you know that we have a certain look and our reality is slightly different. So if you can create yours, that makes it authentic. So that is something that you can think about. Thank you so much for sharing. We did not do an evaluation. We always do an evaluation. We did not do one to share in the session. Mr. Williams, I'm going to ask you, please, if you could create one so that we can share with the participants so that they can give us feedback. We like feedback because it helps us to know what we're doing well, what we need to improve on. I know that you're tired. I am happy that you came and you stayed and you didn't just came and were passive. You were active, you shared, and I loved what I have seen. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Michelle Stewart-McKoy, and Mr. Williams, Dominic Williams from the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning joined me today. So have a good one, and thank you very much for the opportunity to share with you.
And at this
Thank
time,
you
I
as well.
want to ask April
Thank you.
to vote of thanks on behalf of the entire class. April?
Good afternoon. I would just like to say on behalf of the MPH class of this year group, we appreciate all that you have shared with us today. It was very informative, very creative, and we look forward to implementing it in our various areas. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, April. I like how you spell your name. It's a pretty way to spell it.
Yes, it's true. Very uncommon and nice.
Yes, yes. Okay, so have a good one, colleagues. We're going to end the session. We will share the recording with you, Mrs. Walters, so that you can share with them.
Thank you ever so much for that. And it
All
was
right.
really nice having you this afternoon. I enjoyed listening and watching, and I wasn't able to follow through it because of multitasking, but I like the result that I saw with those persons who would have shared. You know, it's really, really nice and creative. I love it. Thank you. Have a great rest of the afternoon, and we have another meeting that you are heading to now.
Yes.
And I hope the editing is no more.
It's gone. Thank you.
To God be the glory. All
To
right.
God be the glory. Have a good one.
Have a good rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much, Dominic.
You're welcome.